It's 10 o'clock, and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Directors. This Friday, May 23rd, 2025. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Thank you to everyone joining us today in person and through our audio option. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Starting with Director Devlin.
Here.
Ingardio.
Are you here?
Oh, here, present. Sorry.
Garbarino.
Here.
Giudice.
Here.
Hardiman.
Here.
Hernandez.
Here.
Maston.
Here.
Holden Peters.
Here.
Parr.
Present.
Parrish. Is absent. Verdoni.
Present.
Sollard.
Present.
Snyder. Is absent. Fear.
Here.
Second Vice President Rabbit.
Here.
First Vice President Hill.
Here.
And President Cochran.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. And as a reminder, please be sure to turn on your mic when we open up for director's discussion so everyone can hear. Please raise your hand, and the secretary or I will call on you accordingly. If we miss you, please speak up. Following any discussion, we will take the appropriate vote. Please follow along by referring to the page number located at the bottom right-hand corner of your meeting packet. Director Ingardio, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please continue with the next item on our agenda.
Thank you. We're going to move on to public comment today for any and all items on today's agenda. If you want to speak to an item on our agenda, please speak to it now. We're going to invite those attending here today in our meeting, and then we're going to move on to the folks that are on the phone line. So I'd like to start by inviting Alita Dupree. Would you please join us at the end of the table and have a seat?
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Gerald Cochran and members. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her team polls. It's good to be back with you. It's been a while. I think I saw you last before I went to New York for about a month. Rode the bus today. It's good. Drivers are very attentive. I'm not really used to the double tap. I got off right over here. Some others got off behind me, and I heard somebody say about tap off. Oh, I didn't tap off. Well, there was the driver, and the bus was still there. I tapped off. The driver had to wait. I guess it's a waiting area. So the bus was there for a few minutes. So thank you for that. Just every time I come and see this bridge, I enjoy it. Yes, I was in New York, and they have the Verrazano Bridge. It's 60 feet longer. And I still have not yet ridden the express bus over the Verrazano Bridge. So I have actually driven over it myself. But you can't beat the orange color. And this bridge is much more approachable than other bridges. So I should come here more often. I hope someday we can get the new toll gantry up. And I know this is a long time coming across the bay on the state-owned bridges. It's several years that they're working toward that. It takes time. And we definitely want to make sure that we preserve that clock. We don't want that to fall by the wayside. But the trend going forward is to have full open road tolling because we're getting rid of the obstructions. Yes, we have to figure out a way that we can preserve elements of that toll plaza. Maybe we should have a Golden Gate museum of some kind. I mean, we have the building across the street, and people are very nice there. I'm just thinking back when I went to New York, and that they have a New York Transit Museum. It's one of a kind. It's actually in a subway station, and the tracks are still live, and they have trains in there, and they can move them in and out. Certainly, how do we keep this all going? Legislation is in the works to help us get the funding that we need to keep our system going. It costs a lot to run buses and ferries. And so I think it's SB 63, something like that. The MTC's been talking about this for months. So I hope we can sell to the voters the importance of what we do here. The bridge, the buses, and the ferry. I'm a transit-dependent person. And it's not just about the bridge. What we do here is an ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Alita. The next person that we have for public comment is Dave Brody. Dave Brody, please join us at the end of the table.
Morning. My name is Dave Brody. I'm the San Francisco Policy Co-Chair for the Climate Reality Project. Look, I know you've got a lot on your plate. I know, for example, that among the district fiscal challenges, you've now got the Trump administration insisting that you give up diversity, equity, and policy and inclusion, or they'll cut off your much-needed grants. I don't come here every month to make your job harder, but I feel I've fallen into the role of being your climate conscience. Whatever is going on in this country and the rest of the world, the climate crisis is not going away. It seems like one of the greatest challenges we face is focus. Distraction is especially abundant with chaotic policies of the Trump administration. It reminds me of an old line, something I probably read on a college poster. When you're up to your ass in alligators, it's difficult to remember that your original objective was to drain the swamp. So here I am, trying to keep your role in addressing the climate crisis top of mind, month by month for the past 6 years. Here's how it started. After Al Gore fired me up on climate action back in 2019 at a climate leader training in Atlanta, I happened upon the Golden Gate Bridge District website announcing its green energy policies. You were touting the use of a biofuel called renewable diesel. When I discovered the reality that greenhouse gas emissions from planting, fertilizing, harvesting, transporting, and refining biofuel crops are equal to petroleum diesel emissions, I found that I wanted to call bullshit on your clean energy policy. But my interest in the Golden Gate Bridge started way before that. When I moved here in 1981, part of what made me fall in love with San Francisco was the Golden Gate Bridge, sitting like a majestic sculpture spanning the bay. When I started a production company in 1984, the first event I produced was a big 12K race across the Golden Gate Bridge. In addition to running events, we produced events for local media. Working with KFOG Radio in 1986, we linked 3,000 people across the bridge in an event called Hands Across the Golden Gate, part of the National Hands Across America Hunger Project. In 1986, we produced, just before the bridge 50th anniversary, KPIX asked me to produce a live TV event celebrating a group of construction workers known as the Halfway to Hell Club. Over my 32-year career, I ended up producing nearly 70 events that crossed the Golden Gate Bridge. All these events required coordination with great people like David Rivera and his predecessors with Bridge Security. We met with nothing but goodwill and professionalism from the bridge staff we worked with. I've accumulated over 40 years of respect for Golden Gate Bridge District Management, which also elevated my expectations. I'm recalling what Dr. Robert Gould, president of Physicians for Social Responsibility, said in signing the electric ferry petition that I presented in March. He said, the organization that manages the iconic Golden Gate Bridge needs to set the right example. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dave. That concludes the public comments that are in the room, unless there's somebody else in the back who did not submit a comment card or arrived a little late and wants to speak. Just raise your hand. I'll entertain that now. Okay. I don't see any other speakers in the room. I'm going to turn things over to Justine. Justine, can you moderate our public line and go ahead and introduce your first speaker?
Certainly. Our first speaker this morning is Elizabeth Eels. Elizabeth, go ahead and speak, please.
Good morning, President Cochran, members of the board. I'm recently retired Golden Gate Bridge District Senior Board Analyst Elizabeth Eels. And now that I've retired, I'd like to express my appreciation for working so closely with the board for over 16 years. I've really enjoyed working for such an iconic organization with diverse people at all levels. And I particularly enjoyed following the proceedings of the board, facilitating legal, and playing a key role in an e-document conversion project. I encourage you and the district staff to carry on your exemplary work, maintaining and operating the bridge and bus and ferry systems. It's a big job and you do it well. And my best wishes to you and your families, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you very much.
You can see her here.
Yes.
Tell her that.
She can hear you.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Francis Gleason. Francis, go ahead, please.
Good morning, board. How are you doing? I wanted to address, you're going to be having hearings on hiring and the vacancies and retention. I looked at the numbers that are presented for the handout for that, and I just wanted to point out that this bridge district, you budgeted for 275 drivers, and we know you don't have that. And on this handout, you're listing that you have a shortfall of 89 vacancies. And that would show about 32% shortfall of the drivers. Now, the seniority list for the drivers is actually 151 drivers. That means there's 151 bus drivers. The seniority list has everybody who's available for work and has not been off for a year. So you have 151. That makes the shortfall of actually 124 from your budgeted 75. It's actually a shortfall of 45%. So I just thought I'd bring that up because you'd be discussing the vacancy rate. And as far as retention, the district is going through negotiations with the ATU. And as far as the information that drivers are being presented, which is updates on the negotiation, the district seems to be wanting to cut drivers' sick pay. And the district seems to also want to change the pay formula. And these are the things that are going on right now in negotiations. And according to the union board, that's pretty much where the district is sitting. They're sitting at, they want to cut drivers' sick pay, and they want to change the pay formula. The other thing that has happened is the district is changing drivers' schedules 7 times a year. And I just wanted to point out to the board that all of those things will affect retention and hiring, because if anybody wants to get hired finds out that they got to change your schedule 7 times a year, it's pretty tough if you've got kids, changing your schedule. Maybe you're working days, maybe you're working nights. And the other thing is if you're about to get hired and you're finding out that the other drivers are telling you that they used to have a different sick pay formula or even a pay formula, and now it's less, that would make people less likely to want to be hired here. Anyway, these are things to look at when you guys do discuss the vacancies. And I appreciate your time. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to poll the room if you don't mind. We do have some new callers that have joined.
Sure. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there anyone else that's joined that would like to speak this morning? Please press * to unmute yourself and give me your name. Again, if you'd like to speak this morning at the board meeting, please press * to unmute yourself and give me your name. I am not hearing anybody else at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment.
Okay, thank you everyone for your comments, especially Elizabeth and your 15 years of service to the Golden Gate Bridge District. This concludes our public comment on today's agenda. We're going to move on to item number 5, to approve the consent agenda. Before we take our vote, are there any questions from board members on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I would take a motion for this item.
So moved, Rabbit.
Has been moved,
Second.
seconded. Thank you. For all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. There is no opposition and motion passes. Moving on to item number 6A, which is a report from the general manager. Dennis, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, members of the public and staff. My written report is before you. I would like to just mention a couple of items. First off, travel in the Golden Gate corridor, whether by bridge, bus, or boat, is still well below pre-pandemic levels. Specifically in April, bridge traffic overall southbound, which is how we collect money, was 15% below April of 2019. Our ferry ridership was down 33% compared to April of 2019, and our bus ridership was down 51% compared to April of 2019. And the actual bus ridership across the bridge is significantly down. Beyond that 51% down kind of mirrors the true amount of reduction in bus traffic across the bridge, because a lot of the customers that are represented by the 49% that are riding our buses are new customers that we pick up and drop off in San Francisco that aren't getting cars off the road. That having been said, while traffic is well down on all three modes, travel continues to trend upward. So things are going in a positive direction. We just need them to come back a little faster. In April, southbound bridge traffic was 4% above April of last year, and our bus ridership was 7% above April of last year, and our ferry ridership was 21% above April of last year. So while we're still way down, things are trending upward, and we look forward to the continued rebirth of downtown San Francisco and watching the Phoenix rise again. It's important to emphasize that our success financially is tied to the success of downtown San Francisco, and that cannot be emphasized enough. So it's encouraging that we're seeing more activity in San Francisco, as evidenced by increased bridge, bus, and ferry ridership. A couple of things that have happened since my last report that you should just be cognizant of. You may have heard in the news that the governor issued what's known as the May revise to the budget. If you track some of the proposals in there, the key thing is don't panic yet. The governor's May revise is an opening proposal for negotiations with the legislature. The May revise did propose some things that would affect transportation funding. There's a long-standing program known as Cap and Trade that, among other things, provides funding for transportation and transit. And the governor's May revise proposed renaming it Cap and Invest and redirecting monies. Then separately, the current administration in the White House is proposing some things that would actually make that whole program go away. So it's just important to pay attention to what's going on. We're members of various organizations that lobby and advocate for different things. The California Transit Association is very actively, as well as all the transit operators, talking to legislators and the governor in Sacramento about some of the proposals that may affect the available funding for transportation. One of the speakers, Alita Dupree, mentioned Senate Bill 63 that's offered by Senator Scott Wiener. That's a bill that, as currently drafted, would allow voters in some Bay Area counties to consider raising taxes on themselves to fund transportation, specifically transit. It's important to note that we are not part of that measure. Only one of the 4 counties that we operate transit service in is included, and the measure is currently crafted would benefit those that operate fully within the district that would, raise their taxes. But separately, Senator Jesse Arreguín and Senator Scott Wiener are advocating for additional funding for transit. They originally had a $2 billion ask similar to Senate Bill 125 several years ago. In light of the May revise the current budget situation, I don't think anyone thinks that the ultimate amount will be that much. But there is still a strong interest in funding those that have a transit shortfall on the operations side, perhaps having a smaller capital ask. And so there'll be a lot happening over the next probably 6 to 8 weeks in Sacramento, and we will keep you abreast of that because it affects the monies that we spend for the services that we provide. With that, though, I'll come to my favorite part of my GM report every month, and that's employee recognition. We have a committee of employees, managers, that every month selects an employee or employees of the month. And this month, the Employee of the Month committee selected the 2024 Health and Wellness Setup Crew. And so I'd like to ask Dave Rivera to walk up the folks that are present here. The members, 2 of whom could not be here because they're taking a well-deserved day off, are Chief Laborer Rafael Sandoval, Laborer Fidel Aguirre, who could not be here, Laborer William Ortiz, Laborer Jesser Gonzalez, Laborer Kenneth Nelson, and then Cement Mason Donnie Rockmore could not be here, and bus storekeeper Adrian Rodriguez. If you could all come on up, we'd like to thank you. They work very closely with Artemis Davenport and some of our administrative staff in putting on these health and wellness fairs every year. Byron, you got to come on up. You can escort yourself up. It's going to get crowded if we have everyone come on up. But we just want to recognize these folks. It's a tremendous amount of work to set things up and to make it all happen. And it's just they're recognized by their colleagues for just all they do, setting up tents, moving things around, making it all successful. It's an opportunity for our employees to learn about the various benefits they have, to have outside providers, make them aware of various options, and to educate them. And so with that, we want to just make sure we thank them. Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, my team, for being working as good crew members. And for a guy who's an immigrant and now working in the Golden Gate Bridge, it's a true blessing. It's a dream. I remember the first time that I came here, one of my uncles told me this story about once you cross the bridge, you will cross it for the rest of your life. And I could imagine to now be part of this team. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this award. I joined the district almost 4 years ago, just coming over the 101 grade, seeing the bridge in the distance and getting to work here. Everyone I tell where I work, they're always amazed. And I've never imagined I'd work somewhere like this, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone, and it's an honor for me to receive such a reward, and I feel blessed to have a great place to work and a great team. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Kenny Nelson, 3-year employee here, and thank you for the recognition. I appreciate it.
Major Rodriguez, I just really glad to be here, really be part of this team. Everything's awesome over there on the bus district. So thank you.
Thank you. One more thing. Yeah, I got to get less than one. Last one. That's it. Me. All right, so squeeze it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Still have rivets left.
That concludes my report, Mr. President. I'm available to answer any questions the board may have.
Are there any questions for our general managers on his report? If not, Dennis, thank you for your report. We're going to move on to item number 6B, which is the attorney's report. Today we have Julie Sherman here to provide the attorney's report. Julie, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing to add to my report, but happy to answer questions if anyone has any. Thank you.
Any questions, Julie? Not. Thank you, Julie. And we'll move on to item number 6C, which is the report of the district engineer. As a reminder, the engineer's report should be found in the Building and Operating Committee's meeting packet as agenda item number 6. And John, will you present this report?
Yes. Good morning, President Cochran, members of the board. A couple items I just want to highlight. The report is in the V&O packet, as President stated. First, the suicide deterrent project is continuing work, performing removal of the existing interior travelers near the South Tower. There's also, if you drive by, you'll see some white tents on the west sidewalk. That's the painting work being done on the west railing, and they're moving along on that. With regard to the electrical project, in the report, the emergency electrical project, the first shipment of equipment and material arrived this week. We expect some more next week. And then we're finalizing the installation work plan, which hopefully will then be installed in the next couple of months. The Vista Point Trail at the north end of the bridge that National Park Service is working on, they've completed installing all of the soldier piles for the retaining walls, and they're currently working on those retaining walls right now. So that work is progressing well. We commenced a rope inspection on the suspension bridge. Span 1 is about 95% completed, and they started in span 2. They'll be back every month until the end of November, continuing with that work. And then I wanted to mention that the solarization of the invasive vegetation at the Corte Madera Restoration Project has resumed. So you'll see some tarps out there over the invasive plants that they'll heat up and hopefully eradicate. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions on the rest of the report.
Any questions of John? No, thank you. Cool.
Director Abbott has a question.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you to John. John made a presentation to the State Seismic Safety Commission regarding the bridge seismic project. I chair that committee. Thank you, John, very much. It was well received. I think it's fascinating, and you gave a great presentation with the perfect amount of detail and really highlighting the bridge's approach to a huge issue. So thank you. I just wanted to say that.
Any other questions of John? Thank you. It was a good presentation. We'll continue with item 8A on the agenda, which is a report of yesterday's Building and Operating Committee meeting. Chair Gabarino, would you please begin the committee's report to the board?
Thank you, President Cochran. I have 2 items for recommendation today. First, the Building and Operating Committee recommends approval of item number 8A1 to approve actions relative to Project 1923 Golden Gate Suspension Bridge Seismic Retrofit Pre-Construction as follows. 1, authorize execution of the Second Amendment to Professional Services Agreement number 2023B015 Golden Gate Suspension Bridge Seismic Retrofit CMGC Pre-Construction Services with Halmar International LLC of Nauvoo, New York, in the amount not to exceed $2,237,868 for continuation of construction manager, general contractors, CMGC, pre-construction services. 2, authorize execution of the Second Amendment to Professional Services Agreement number 2023B042 Golden Gate Suspension Bridge Seismic Retrofit ICE Services with Leland Saylor Associates of Walnut Creek in an amount not to exceed $738,505 for continuation of independent cost estimator pre-construction services. 3, authorize execution of the 16th Amendment to PSA number 2010B1 Golden Gate Suspension Bridge Seismic Retrofit Design Services with HDR Engineering Incorporated of Walnut Creek in an amount not to exceed $862,486 for continuation of engineering design services to finalize design documents and pre-construction services. And finally, 4, authorize a budget increase in the FY 24-25 Bridge Division capital budget in the amount of $5,568,659 to be funded with district reserves for project number 1923 Golden Gate Suspension Bridge Seismic Retrofit Pre-Construction to finance the increased costs relative to these amendments, district staff costs, and other expenses required to develop the final construction documents and the construction price and schedule. for the total project budget of $25,643,934 in concurrence with the Finance Auditing Committee as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
Chair
Garbarino, I was going to ask if we could take the vote on items 1 and 2 separately. I believe there's a conflict of interest.
That's not.
Let me finish. I have a conflict of interest on item number 3. To the extent that 4 includes part of 3, I would like to excuse myself and leave the room and have the vote be on items 1 and 2, if that's all right with you and the chair.
Oh, did you talk to our attorney about this issue?
I would like
by recusing yourself. I mean, have you stated your purpose for recusing yourself?
I just did. I just stated my purpose. Yes.
As a chair, I say we'll move on as we progress. If you must leave.
Yes, I will leave the room. Thank you, Chair.
Do I have a second for the?
I did.
It's been moved and seconded.
Yes, sir.
Before I ask for the vote, are there any questions on this item? If not, I would ask for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there is no opposition, and the motion passes.
And we have Director here is not in the room, so we want to make sure that's in the record.
Okay. Chair Garbarino, please continue with your report.
You can go back in.
Thank you, President Cochran. The second item I have for recommendation is item number 882, which is to authorize execution of the third amendment to contract number 2016 MD01, janitorial services with Imperial Cleaning Service of Fairfield, California, in the amount of $50,000 for janitorial services at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal and on Larkspur Ferry vessels, as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the item? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there is no opposition. Chair Garbarino, do you have anything further to report?
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Continuing on to 8B on the agenda, which is the report from yesterday's Finance and Auditing Committee. Chair Rabbit, would you please present your report?
Thank you, President Cochran. The Finance Auditing Committee recommends approval of item 8B1, which is to authorize the execution of an extension of the line of credit at JP Morgan Chase Bank for the commercial paper program at a cost of 0.43% per annum for a total cost of approximately $666,000 for the period of June 30th, 2025 through June 29th, 2027, as detailed in the staff report, and I so moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Been moved and seconded. Before I ask for the question, are there any questions on the item? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there is no opposition to the motion, and the motion passed. Chair Rabbit, do you have anything further to report?
That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Continuing on with item 8C on the agenda, which is the Rules and Policy and Industrial Relations Committee. Chair Hernandez, please begin your committee report.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Rules, Policy, and Industrial Relations Committee recommends approval of item 8C1 to establish a 1.1% proposed race-neutral disadvantaged business enterprise overall goal for the fiscal years 2025-2026 through 2027-2028, applicable to $27,520,000 in anticipated contracts assisted by the Federal Transit Administration. And approve all other items, including authorizing the general manager to publish a notice of the proposed goal, as well as subsequent adoption and submission of the overall goal, as detailed in the staff report. And I so move.
I have a second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? The report? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there is no opposition and the motion passes. Chair Hernandez, please continue with your report.
Thank you, President Cochran. The Rules Policy and Industrial Relations Committee also recommends approval of item 8C2, which is to approve amendments to the district's engineering department's table of organization as detailed in the staff report and as follows. Number 1, eliminate 1 vacant position of deputy district engineer. And number 2, establish 4 new positions consisting of 1 directing civil engineer, 2 senior civil engineers, and 1 associate engineering inspector, with the understanding that these actions will be funded through salary savings in the current fiscal year and will be budgeted accordingly in future years. And I so move.
Motion and a second. Do you have any questions on the item? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, if any. Is there any opposition? Showing none, the motion is passed. Chair Hernandez, do you have anything further to report?
That concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. There are no addresses to the board under agenda item number 9. We have no special order of business under item number 10. And we have no unfinished business under item 11. And we don't have anything listed under item 12 for new business. We have no new communications under item number 13. Colleagues, we now have reached the end of our agenda and there are no further items to be presented to the board. I have a motion to adjourn this meeting. Second. Thank you. Let's now adjourn this meeting in a moment of silence in the honor of former MPC Commissioner Federal V. Glover and Louis Chavez, as requested by Director Rabbit. This concludes the meeting of the Board of Directors. We'll take a short break before the public hearing relative to Assembly Bill 2565. We go on the side.